Happy Friday, and welcome into today's edition of Cronkite Sports Now. I'm your host, Sean Rice. On today's show, we'll take a look at some of the NFL draft hopefuls with Arizona ties, hear about the Cardinals' plan for this year's draft, plus one of baseball's best, lending a helping hand when it's needed most. The Arizona Cardinals officially have a new star receiver in the Valley, but how will DeAndre Hopkins transition to the team? Cronkite News reporter Brady Klain has more. Brady?
DeAndre Hopkins is a household name for elite talent in the NFL. And now, he's a household name for the Arizona Cardinals. After being traded to Arizona for David Johnson and 2 draft picks, the 3-time All-Pro and 4-time Pro Bowl wide receiver feels like he has some catching up to do, but thinks he will fit right into the system.
With this offense, it's obviously going to take a lot of meetings outside of the facility. Communication is going to be key, but that's something that, we're working on now, meeting up together, just Kyler and I, just working out and, going over the offense. So I don't think it's going to be something that would be a big problem because we're professional athletes. And I've been in the NFL for 7 years and played under 2 different offenses. So, I'm familiar with offensive changes. So I think it'll be, pretty smooth.
With an already solid core of wideouts in Larry Fitzgerald and Christian Kirk, the addition of Hopkins has the makings of one of the most talented wide receiving groups in the NFL.
After an active offseason that included trading for All-Pro wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, the Arizona Cardinals turned their attention to this next week's NFL Draft. General Manager Steve Keim outlined what he expects from the player they draft at number 8.
I don't think we approach it any differently. We value the players the same way. And, if we're taking a player at number 8, we expect him to be an immediate impact player and the type of guy that can certainly upgrade us for the future.
The number of coronavirus cases continues to rise in the U.S., and at the center of it all are the frontline medical staff fighting to save lives. It involves long hours and lack of sleep, but Chicago Cubs star Anthony Rizzo and his foundation partnered with Stake 44 to lend a helping hand.
Hey guys, it's Anthony Rizzo and Kevin here. Just an update, we have now served over 800 meals to Chicago and Florida hospitals and the frontline workers and the staff that are really taking on this virus.
And now, Rizzo can officially add Phoenix to that list of cities. Recently, the Anthony Rizzo Family Foundation and a local restaurant, Stake 44, teamed up to serve 50 meals to the Phoenix Children's Hospital.
Hospital workers are afraid to go home at night, or they can't go to the grocery store because they're afraid of being contaminated. So we said, let's provide meals.
The Rizzo family has been involved with the Phoenix Children's Hospital for a few years and wanted to find a way to help give back.
The hospital's cafeterias are largely closed, so it makes it very difficult for them to do something as simple as have a delicious meal. And Anthony and his foundation were cognizant of that and called us, and we're happy to help.
We've heard of nurses crying when they see the food waiting for them, not because they're hungry, although I'm sure they're starving, but because they just feel appreciated. They know somebody cares about them, somebody knows what they're doing out there to help our loved ones, and I think that really means a lot and goes a long way with them.
In addition to helping frontline workers, an added bonus is helping Stake 44, a partner of the Rizzo Foundation for years during a difficult time.
It was great. It was very helpful, getting the word out that we are open. The fact that they, wanted to buy those meals and help support us directly for, all of the support that we've given them over the years. It's a tremendous partnership.
The Anthony Rizzo Family Foundation has donated over 2,000 meals for hospital workers across the country.
We appreciate it. I hope everyone stays safe and find some happiness during these tough times. We're going to get through this together.
Rizzo has since donated food for hospital workers in New York City. I'm Bree Peters, Cronkite News.
To donate to the Anthony Rizzo Family Foundation, text HOPE44 to 52000 or go to rizzo44.com/donate. On today's Arizona Sports Rewind, I am joined today by Brandon Jensen, one of our reporters. And Brandon, I understand that there was an interesting baseball nugget that happened on today's date in 2001. So what exactly happened?
Yeah, so on this date in 2001, Luis Gonzalez and the Diamondbacks were about 1 month into the season, and Gonzo hit his 10th home run in the month of April, which tied a National League record. After that, he'd go on to break the record with his 11th and then tie Ken Griffey Jr. for the record in the month of April with 13.
So I understand for part of your digital story, you were able to actually talk to Gonzo and hear about what made his April so successful. So what did he tell you in that interview?
I asked him, I wanted to know what was working different for him, because before that, he had never hit more than 31 home runs in a season. And he said that, like, he was feeling really confident, feeling really good, even as far back as spring training. But he kept rounding back to just the guys who were around him. And he knew as far back as spring training that it was just a special group. And then he had Mark Grace and Tony Womack hitting in front of him. He had Steve Finley and Matt Williams behind him. So they both hit 300 home runs in his career. And he said he was just feasting off of the guys who were batting around him. And that really helped him blossom as a home run hitter.
We see a lot that guys that participate in the home run derby, as Gonzo did in 2001, often in the second half struggle and fall into kind of a slump. Did that happen with Gonzo in 2001 after he participated in the derby?
Absolutely did not. He had a performance in the first half of the season good enough to earn him a spot in the derby. Won the derby. He edged out Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, Jason Giambi, and then he finished the season with 57 home runs, which was, third in the league that season. He finished third in the MVP voting. And then 57 is up there with Mantle and Maris and Ruth. He did not slump after that.
Yeah, we know this is one of the best Diamondbacks seasons we've seen in recent memory. So how did that season end for the Diamondbacks, and how did it end for Gonzo? I understand it's a pretty memorable moment in D-backs history.
Yeah, as we all know, maybe the most memorable moment in Arizona sports history, Game 7, 2-2, and he hits a bloop single to center field off Mariano Rivera to seal the World Series win.
Awesome, Brandon. That was such an awesome digital story, and I appreciate you joining me to add some clarity for that story.
Yeah, thanks, Sean.
Heading into your weekend, the 2020 NFL Draft is just 6 days away. So let's get you familiar with some probable Arizona draftees. From Arizona State, we have wide receiver Brandon Ayuk and running back Eno Benjamin. Ayuk was projected in many mock drafts to be selected in the late first round to early second round. Benjamin's draft stock has been a lot more fluid, with experts saying he'd go in the second round, sixth round, or somewhere in between. Much like Benjamin, Wildcats running back J.J. Taylor and quarterback Khalil Tate are likely to be selected in the middle to late rounds of this year's draft. Some prospects that played high school ball in Arizona include potential first-round pick Austin Jackson, former offensive lineman at North Canyon, as well as former Pinnacle quarterback Brian Lewerke, who will most likely compete for a free agent spot with an NFL team. That'll do it for today's Friday edition of Cronkite Sports Now. Thank you so much for joining us, and from all of us here at Cronkite News, have a safe and healthy weekend.